It is a pleasure to have on board this morning Mr. Steve Ayonide, the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Information and Strategy, the man who is behind the strategy, the man who is part of the policy processes of the government, and of course this far we have come, talking about Lagos, the best place to be. Good morning, and thank you for the honor done us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, Mr. Commissioner, while that is coming, to a school of thought, Lagos, from the international perspective, Lagos is seen as the investment heaven. And from the corporate world, they say Lagos is an industrial place of growth.
Yes.
To another place, from another perspective of the business concern, some say Lagos is the center of commerce. But when you put all of this equation together, the bottom line is Lagos is the economic hub of even West Africa and the fifth largest economy in Africa.
Yes.
In all of this, how do we connect, putting Lagos in perspective as to this far that we have come in terms of its economic growth and development?
Well, thank you very much indeed. You've said it all, but we need to expand the perspective, which is to properly situate the importance of Lagos State. And you will see, of course, from the just concluded or recently concluded Lagos at 50 celebrations. It wasn't just about the fact that Lagos needed a ball. It was essentially about putting in proper perspective what Lagos has succeeded in achieving in its 50 years as a state, and then using that as a basis for the next 50 years. And there's no way that you are going to project into the next 50 years of Lagos State without looking at the value chain, the unique selling point of Lagos State. It is commerce, it is business, it is investment, it is resources, it is money. That is what makes Lagos very thick. And it didn't just start today. The whole point of being a city of aquatic splendor means that you are a gateway to the world. Goods and services come in and go out, and they translate, to money. Which therefore means that the only bigger economy than that of Lagos in West Africa is the economy of Nigeria itself. Any other economy in West African country, Lagos is bigger than them. And it is important to appreciate what that means, because I was reading, joyfully what the CNN correspondent, I'm sure you must have seen it, Isa Shese, said about the fact that, she needed to thank Lagos and Nigeria for saving her mom's life. She is Sierra Leonean born, British citizen, works in America. The mom lives in Sierra Leone, got ill, and had to be flown to Lagos, for healing, for cure. It says something about what Lagos is. Number one, it means that we can get quality Medicare in this state. It also means that people from all over the country, so all over the continent, particularly West African countries, can actually seek assistance, whether in commerce, whether in sports, whether in culture, whether in medicine, in Lagos State. They will, when they come, they pay. When they come, some other people stay with them in our hotels, buy our food, buy our goods. The CNN lady's case is just one out of several hundreds or hundreds of thousands that we are witnessing on a daily basis.
You talk about the direction here, with all due respect to you. Are we connecting with what His Excellency said some few weeks back?
Yes.
That, well, we know Lagos is placed fifth largest economy in Africa, but he did say that he's going to use ICT to drive it to be in the third place. How are we going into that direction? How far have we gone in the perspective of that vision?
Okay, two ways to answer that. One, in using ICT or technology to drive a city, basically what His Excellency was saying is that there's no question about the fact that Lagos is a mega city. Now people need to understand that the concept of mega city is not necessarily something fanciful, because people tend to throw, that word around, kind of carelessly. It's about head count, which Lagos has got. By United Nations standard, once you are 12 to 15 million people in a state or a city, you're a mega city, frankly speaking, because you really can't have that huge number and not drive a certain level of business and enterprise. So Lagos is a mega city, without a doubt, like Cairo is, like Joburg. But we do not want to stay there, because the trend in the international business and community now is to be a smart city. And therefore, but you can be a smart city without necessarily being a mega city.
That's right.
You don't, I mean, like Dubai, for example, huge population is not one of their strengths, but it's a smart city. As a matter of fact, Dubai adequately represents the concept of having a smart city where technology basically drives everything, the economy. So Lagos is a mega city that is eager, that is very keen to be a smart city.
Using the technology using
to
drive its entire process.
And you would see it in practically everything that the city is doing. Technology would drive security. CCTV cameras are an essential component of a smart city. The city has to be secure. ICT, technology will drive education, will drive transportation, and that takes me to the second part of the answer, to what you asked. So you will see from what the governor has said that the focus for the next 2 years of this government, therefore, having laid the solid foundation in the areas of security and infrastructural development. The 3 areas that we are now focusing on, without, of course, not necessarily neglecting the other sectors. Absolutely, would be power, transformation, and the environment, stroke sanitation. And you will see from what happened last Friday that we've started tackling the issue of the environment. Kai,
with the launch of the new initiative.
The new initiative. Kai has now transformed to the Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Corps. The same way that we made an intervention in the security area when we had our own internal arrangement to ensure internal policing, if you like, the Neighborhood Safety Corps. So you will have something like the Neighborhood Safety Corps in the environment area. But of course, what we won't do is to take that in isolation. You recall, of course, that one of the biggest things that we have done this year is to put all the laws affecting the environment, affecting sanitation, etc., together into a single bouquet to transform how we dispose our waste, how we regulate issues of sanitation and environment, and put everything in proper perspective. And you will begin to see through the Cleaner Lagos initiative that yes, there might be a few challenges here and there, particularly at a time that you are transiting. But give us a couple of weeks, especially with what we have done on Friday, and you see that not only is there good business in the business of waste management, but we can actually make Lagos the city that we all desire, clean, green, and effective.
We recall some time back that when Mark Zuckerberg came to Lagos,
the Facebook man,
yes, it became something extraordinary as to, hey, can this happen in Lagos? What was responsible for such action on the part of the Facebook giant? And of course, making a statement that in Lagos, there is what we call growth and development, economic-wise. Is there a connection in this together?
Absolutely, because this is where it happens. A Mark Zuckerberg will not just visit any of his substations, if you like, if there is no major reason to go there. And Lagos happens to be one of the, if you like, important, and I dare say, most lucrative outpost for Facebook. Without a doubt, the largest number of Facebook users in Africa is in Lagos, is in Nigeria. That translates into something. into relevance, into money, into outreach. It speaks volume, that the largest concentration of black people anywhere in the world for a city is in Lagos. As it is for a country, it is, in Nigeria. And therefore, in choosing to come to Lagos, Mark was basically validating the point that that is where the market is.
Well, if you're just tuning in, it's Just Business and Nothing More. And our guest today is the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Lagos State, Mr. Steve Ayonide. Together, we're taking a look at Lagos, its economic growth, and of course, development issues in perspective. From humble Smith, Mr. Honorable Commissioner, he said, Lagos is a beautiful city and a lot is happening. How does it connect with what we're talking about?
It's stating the very obvious. And finally, you had it there after 2 or 3 attempts. I think what Dumbo Smith has done really is to show visually that Lagos is not just about commerce, it's not just about business, it's not just about money. This is also a place that people can visit. This is also a place that is beautiful, that is a tourist heaven, because it is important to underline, that feature of the state. When people come here, a lot of people think that because Lagos is a commercial capital, is a business city, those who are coming from outside are basically coming to transact business. Not all. It's not only that. People come here because they just want to chill, they want to relax, and this is the area where it is important to expand our knowledge base and educate people. Lagos is not limited to the island and the mainland. Badagry, for example, you'll be surprised, and I'm sure you heard the other time, that Lagos State will be partnering with the federal government, to have the biggest festival that will put diaspora, African diaspora together in Badagry. That's a hub that can serve, if you like, as the destination point for Lagos State. Ekpa is there, which is why you see part of what we are doing in terms of attracting people is that we are now working on the marina waterways in both Ekpe and in Badagry. So that, any place that you go anywhere in the world where a city is blessed with the ocean, with so much water, we shouldn't allow it to go to waste. So much can spring up in terms of businesses, hospitality business, hotels, resorts, golf courses, sporting activities, water sports, etc. Festivals, cultural things.
This will increase a business economy within the
without a doubt, because again, it is part of the areas that His Excellency the Governor, from day one wanted to focus on. So when we have people like Ombu Smith saying that an Okoro man comes from somewhere, he sees much more than business opportunities. He sees that, here is beautiful. Coming from Ojoduambode, formerly known as Ojodubaga, you see from entry point that that you are entering into a different space.
Now, we also have from the records, and I'm quoting these precisely, given all the statistics put in place by this international firm, that Lagos is rated as one of the most expensive cities in the world, and it's placed 29th, while Abuja is placed at position 59. In all of this, what is this translating to, and does it also connect with the vision of driving a new Lagos to the top place of African economy?
Well, we need to be slightly careful with rankings, because frankly, many of them do not, they don't do more than just give you an idea, list a few countries. But it is gratifying that in any of such rankings, whether livability, ranking, safety, etc., or the most expensive cities in the world, you will always find Lagos, because that says something is in reckoning. You know, any issue that you are discussing internationally. And of course, you know that all this information, you know, is sourced based on experience, references, people traveling to such thing. And therefore, if Lagos is ranked as the 29th most expensive, that's the figure, city in the world, it simply says that there is the purchasing power in the city, in the state, is high. How do you judge that? You judge it by how much do people pay, you know, taking Uber from point A to B. What is the volume of the business of people using Uber compared to say other cities or other states? What is the average cost of getting a very good hotel space in Lagos State? What is the property value? And I know for a fact that Lagos ranks with, I think Switzerland is probably the most expensive. You know, Switzerland, exactly. So so when you're discussing property market in Lagos State, you'll be thinking in terms of Geneva, you'll be thinking in terms of Zurich, in terms of New York, in terms of London, etc.
International rating.
Absolutely. And and the beauty of that sort of ranking is that you don't look at it from how expensive, you're looking at it in terms of how many people are benefiting.
Now let's look at the policy of the state government, because to some school of thought, they have the view perhaps maybe this policy is what is really driving Lagos with a visionary vision of the leadership of the government in terms of His Excellency Mr. Akinwumi Ambode. Let's look at the aspect of, first, let's take the aspect of this Office of Overseas Affairs, Lagos Global.
Lagos Global.
How has that helped?
Yes.
And in what way is that helping? And how can one really take advantage of that platform to really connect with the business opportunities and growth in Lagos State?
Fantastic. Lagos Global, the Office of the Overseas Affairs and Investment, which of course came with the Ambode administration, is working perfectly well. And essentially, the whole idea is to say that as an investment destination, as a business hub, you need to make the ease of doing business paramount, one, in the state. You know, of course, that we can't deal with the issues that, say, a foreign affairs ministry or the investment council of the federal government in Abuja, the issues that they are dealing with in terms of visas, you know, and in terms of permits. But we can deal with other things that will make doing business in Lagos, visiting Lagos, land permit, issues of tax, a lot easier by having just one, if you like, a one-stop shop office that, rather than, say, for example, an investor who's bringing, say, hundreds of millions of dollars or $1 billion is interested in a particular business and he wants to invest his money. Make it a lot easier for that person, right from his research, trying to research everything about Lagos or about Nigeria. Make it a lot easier for him. Simple email, respond, and then he visits Lagos. It shouldn't be the investor that will go to the tax office, that will go to the land office. He's got the money that he wants to invest, and therefore there should be an office, which is what we have done.
That will synergize.
That will synergize and make it a lot simpler for him, so that it can therefore be a reference point to others who want to come here. So what Lagos Global is doing, and which is doing perfectly well, is to harmonize all the processes, attract investment, sell Lagos to the world as an investment destination, work with Ministry of Information, work with Tourism Ministry to say that there are opportunities that you can tap into. And once you have, you know, elected to be here, will make it a lot simpler for you. And I think that is what, again, is driving. And it has to be so, because statistically, 90.1% in 2016 of all the investment that came into Nigeria came here to Lagos State. And therefore, you won't, it won't be fair on those investors to take them elsewhere in dealing with the basics that they need to do. You need an office that will harmonize everything that they need, because everybody who, out of 10, 9 investors that are coming to Nigeria are coming to Lagos.
Okay, this feature may possibly give us a clue again to all we're saying. But so when the good news came, we know Lagos is blessed with the sea, and the ports are there for us to be proud of.
Yeah.
But recently, we got the approval of Mr. Acting President that the Minister of Works should let go of the construction of the airport road, Lagos International Airport, by the state government to take up that job.
Yes.
What is this what is this implying? When that comes into effect?
One of the biggest news for Lagos State, for the year, and of course, which also underscores the good relationship between Lagos State and the federal. Of course, that until 2 years ago, when Lagos State finally aligned with the federal, being on the same political platform, it has always been a struggle for Lagos to get so many things done because of the ruling party at the federal, was not always very disposed. But now we're happy that it is the same party. We have a president, and for now an acting president, who appreciates the importance of Lagos State and the importance of such a road, not only to Lagos State, but to the country. That is, without a doubt, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport is the #1 in the country, and more people come into Nigeria through that same airport. And therefore, you cannot have such an eyesore of a road being the gateway, into the country. And Lagos State basically said, let us fix this road for you, because it helps us. It is in Lagos anyway, but it also helps the image of the country. So we're happy that finally the acting president, has approved it. We're getting to work almost immediately. We have officially released to the public the design, and people can't wait to see how Oshodi first will transform, and that there is a lot going on in Oshodi.
Business activities going on.
There is a major bus terminal coming up, a shopping mall is coming up, and therefore the whole idea is to say that let's have a smooth ride from the airport to a major terminal like Oshodi. If people need to stop and shop around that place, let us transform it so that Oshodi will no longer wear that toga of brigandage, eyesore and everything. I think that that's the point of what we're trying to do.
Well, before we let you off the hook, Mr. Commissioner, sir, we know one aspect that Lagos has also used to drive its economy and growth is the aspect of arts and entertainment, using tourism and hospitality to drive that sector.
Yes.
Is anything more coming up from that aspect of the policy thrust of the state government in that regard?
Yes, quite a lot, but that the government is an enabler. And what we have demonstrated in 2 years is to say that we can drive the economy of this state through what we call Project This.
Transport,
tourism, hospitality, entertainment, and sport. That is what government has succeeded in establishing. Now we're looking at investors coming into that sector. I mentioned to you what we are doing in the Ekpe and the Badagry Marina. Again, it is telling investors that there are opportunities here. Come, let us work together. Let us engage you, so that things can transform. In 2 years, we have had 2 successful editions of Lagos Marathon. In 2 years, we have Barcelona having a sports academy in Lagos, the first of its type outside of Europe and Dubai, where they have, academy. It means that we have succeeded in saying that you can do good business here. It is the same message that we are sending to those who are interested in the tourism sector, in the arts sector, opportunities to build more convention centers, opportunities to build more cinemas, more studios. There's an entertainment village that will soon spring up in Ekpe, for example. So we've succeeded to say that if your desire is that will there be patronage, the head count clearly shows that people will come. It's good news to Lagosians. Lagos State will generate 3,000 megawatts of electricity between now and the next 5 to 6 years. 3,000 megawatts is important if you look at how much, what is Nigeria currently generating. Yes, the issue of power is a federal responsibility, but again, this speaks to the alignment between Lagos and the federal at this point. And therefore, we're engaging the federal government, we're speaking with the regulators, and we're saying that Lagos State is able to work with the discos that are in Lagos, and you know, of course, that the Eko and the Ikeja discos are the biggest in the country. They take about 27% of the entire thing that Nigeria, generates. And you know that the technical committee that His Excellency the Governor formed has submitted a report detailing clearly how this will be achieved. And we're saying that between the first and the second quarter of next year, because we have succeeded in identifying 6 clusters where power can be generated, gas is secured, power can be generated and evacuated and distributed to specific homes and industrial locations in Lagos State. So, and Lagos State is ready to guarantee the investment that is required, because it is private money that will be used. So once we are able to finalize on the approval, which we expect that it will sail through, Lagosians will begin to smile, because the first tranche that we hope that we will generate between the end of first quarter and the end of the second quarter next year is about 600, 700 megawatts, which in actual fact is actually what we are getting from the federal at this moment, which means once that is done, the ones that the embedded power that Lagos State is getting will not be distributed through the national grid, but it will be independently distributed, so that we can redirect the 600 megawatts that we are getting from Abuja to other users still within Lagos. So it means that in 1 year, all things being equal, we want to double what Lagos State is getting presently. But ultimately, as I said, through the embedded power project, we are targeting about 3,000 megawatts, which simply says that if Lagos gets its power needs right, it means that half of the power issues in Nigeria is solved.
Definitely.